Hey y'all, what's up? Jamie, that's me here. Welcome back to the channel, honey. Welcome back to another update, another conversation about Miss Carlee Russell. Okay, the news has come out and they are stating that Miss Carlee Russell is fired from her previous job, which is Woodhouse Spa. Now, I find this to be interesting because I was also hearing rumors that she had already been fired before she went missing. So that's what I'm not too sure about. We'll get into the article. I have yet to read it, but I'm going to read it with you guys and we'll find out more of the details. I do know that Woodhouse Spa came out with a statement where they did say a lot of the rumors were factual and then some were not factual. Now, we're not sure what parts were actual factual and what were not. Some of the rumors that were out there were that she was fired already. Another one was that she stole items from the job. Now, again, these were rumors that were lurking out there. And then at a later time, it was indeed confirmed at the press conference with the Hoover Police Department that those things indeed happened, except for the firing of Miss Carlee Russell. Okay, but I do have a short clip that I am going to play of the owner of that Woodhouse Spa, and he's going to speak on Carlee just really briefly. And it seems like what he has to say came way earlier, in the investigation once she was missing and things like that. So he's going to give a short clip about that. But before we get into that, today is a very special day. And I definitely want to highlight what today is. Okay. Do you know what today is? Today is Miss Carlee Russell's birthday. And that is according to Facebook. Okay. Today is her birthday. I believe she turned 26. So now she's 26 years old. And I think that she is enjoying her birthday and celebrating it very free. Okay, free of talking to the police, possibly free of guilt. And hey, she might be over there planning her next great escape. Who knows? Who knows what she's up to? I'm sure her family's over there figuring out a way to celebrate. Okay, but this is what Miss Carlee Russell has going on. It is indeed her birthday, and what a way to find out that you no longer have a job right before your birthday comes in. Okay, and you are continuing to be the talk of the town to this day on your birthday. All right. I can imagine the birthday memes that are going to come out, because when I tell you guys that the memes have been memeing, they have been memeing. I think I came across a meme where people were saying that they wanted to see a versus battle between Jussie Smollett and Carlee. I said, oh my God, you guys are getting extremely, extremely out of control. You guys are just the memes are everlasting. Okay, we probably got enough memes to last us throughout the rest of the year when it comes to you, Miss Carlee girl. Okay, but anywho, I want to go ahead and I want to pull up that news short clip so that we could just check it out and just see what they have to say. It appears that Carlee still has yet to talk to the police. Okay, so let's go ahead and just check this out real briefly here.
Yes.
Investigators also believe Russell stole a bathrobe and toilet paper from her job. Stuart Rome owns the Woodhouse Spa, Birmingham.
You did not see any signs that this was someone who could be troubled?
No, not at all. She always came on time. She was pleasant.
Rome says he's cooperating with police.
The number one concern is that Carlee's home safe with her family.
That was Sam Brock reporting. Carlee Russell has declined to talk with police a second time. One person said they possibly saw a person standing beside Russell's car on the side of the interstate.
All right, so y'all just heard that, okay? He said the most important thing is that Carlee is at home with her family. I think a lot of people are saying that because they don't want the backlash, but I'm sure, okay, I'm positive this man definitely feels away because this young lady took items from his, Woodhouse Spa, and not really, so maybe not the items, because of course he could replace a robe, he could replace the tissue and stuff, but he probably was just taken aback to know that those type of things were happening right under his, right under his nose. And if she likely took the money out the register as she was researching to do anyway, he probably like, God, dog, let me switch up my hiring process just a little bit more, because I was not expecting this with a cute face and a smile, honey. All right, coming over here with a high-pitched little sweet voice. I didn't know she had all of this over here up in her. And then she did all this research on my computer. Child, you was over there letting her run your spot, huh? Well, that's what's going on over there. All right. I definitely want to get into the story of what they're saying as to why they're getting into the details of Miss Carlee being fired. So let me go ahead and also get that up on the screen so that we could check that out. All right. So what they're saying is that Carlee Russell has been fired from Spa. All right. Coworkers pissed about increasingly suspicious kidnapping story. Now, I will say this, from what I've seen on social media, there have been a lot of people that have gone over to this company's website and have really like bashed them in reviews. And that could possibly have something to do with why they decided to fire her. Either that or they could have fired her before, this whole incident took place. So let's get into the article. They're saying Carlee Russell has officially disappeared from the payroll of her Alabama job. The owner of the Woodhouse Spa in Birmingham told the Post that she's been canned and that her steaming coworkers are pissed about their former colleagues' increasingly suspect kidnapping account. Okay, so they seem to be really pissed off with her, but I'm sure she probably made it a little harder for them while they back at the office. So now he probably over there checking everybody out. Okay, because he just don't know who the hell he done hired now. So they're saying that owner Stuart Rome said his staffers were stunned after hearing of Russell's purported disappearance and did everything in their power to help bring her home. It was really devastating for them, thinking a coworker was abducted. The following day, Saturday, it was the busiest day of the week, and they had to plug along and work. Okay, they had to plug along and work, and in the off times, pass out flyers and other things. Okay, they're saying, but since Russell's abruptly resurfaced, she has abruptly resurfaced, police have revealed she had searched for a bus ticket price as well as the movies about kidnapping on the day she disappeared, drawing a lot of skeptical thoughts. Okay. They go on to say her coworkers' concern also started to turn into anger as information came out that there were some questionable things. We've been a little pissed off. All right. Mainly because so many people took so much time to search. And this is what Stuart Rome is saying. So he's pissed off too. So I figure in the interview that we just saw of Mr. Stuart Rome, he was saying the professional thing that he needed to say on camera. Which is the most important thing, is that she's home with her family. But when he got over there on that phone call with New York Post, he said, let me tell you how I really feel about this. I'm pissed the fuck off. Okay. Because I know I was out there trying to search for hats too. Okay. That's what it's given. Now they go on to say, in addition, the spa has been getting slammed with nasty social media messages, reviews, and damaging 1-star reviews, y'all, because of its affiliation with Russell. Girl, they're victims in this situation too. Girl, what? Carlee's not the victim. They are. How y'all gonna bash these people? What? So they go on to say, basically, we spent the last day battling to get things deleted. Comments, I've had to shut down my comment section on Instagram and Facebook, which hurt us because we do a lot of marketing there. We're just trying to keep the doors open. Y'all putting these people and their jobs in jeopardy. Like, who are the people that's bashing him because they're connected to Carlee? Like, that makes no sense. Like, whoever's out there doing it, you stupid. That makes no sense. And it's like, I'm confused. I can't, girl. I don't understand that. That does not make logical sense to me. But anywho, all right, they did go in to say that Russell called 911 at 9:34. We know the whole story, right? They pretty much go into the whole story. They said that she told the police that she was going to stay at the scene until they arrived, but she ended up vanishing for like 2 days, and then of course she came back. So we know that whole spiel, that whole story, that whole breakdown. But for the most part, I just wanted to see if we can get into some of the details as to her actually being fired. All right, so let's see if they have anything else in this article, and it doesn't really look like they do. They said her former employer fumed that if her story is confirmed as a hoax, locals won't be as quick to unite the next time for similar scenario if or should similar scenarios emerge. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't I just disagree with it. People really think because of her situation others won't be so quick to jump on something. Not necessarily. I don't think so. I think they would. I think they would jump on it. But let's see if there's anything else. He says, I think it erodes faith. For the next time, it erodes faith when people see somebody who's been abducted and they've been put through this. They're just not going to respond like they did, which is the worst part. Y'all let me know in the comments, based on how this situation happened with Carlee, do you think it's going to prevent you from wanting to support another person's case? Because I feel like each case is different. Each case is different. I don't see why we would not still support a missing person's case. I just don't, just because this person chose to have a hoax, that makes no sense. Because in all honesty, what made this story go as viral as it did was because people believed that it was a hoax. Right? So people often talk about how police and other folks don't take us serious when it comes to us missing, but do we take us serious when we're missing? Because in all honesty, in my personal opinion, it only went as viral as it did because a quote unquote hoax was attached to it and people needed to verify whether that hoax was true or whether it wasn't. And so many other details came out, which made it so much more messier. So let's go ahead and check out the Daily Mail to see what they had to say, because they're saying Carlee Russell is fired from her job at Alabama spa after cops said she stole a bathrobe and toilet paper before she went missing for 49 hours. Now, what they're saying is that the Alabama woman who claimed she was kidnapped after seeing a toddler on a highway has been fired from her job at a spa. They're saying that Carlee Russell worked at the Woodhouse Spa in Birmingham until they gave her the boot on Friday. On July 13th, she was caught on surveillance camera stealing a robe, a bathrobe, toilet paper before leaving work for the day. She then called 911 to report a child along the freeway, and then she vanished for 49 hours. They said she told officers she was kidnapped by a man and a woman. I'm so glad they put this in here. A lot of people keep having the same story. I keep constantly seeing it in the comments, and they keep saying she never reported herself missing. She never reported herself missing. Well, number one, how many missing people actually report themselves as missing? Typically, the family member or a loved one does that. Stop that. Number two, did you not hear the entire press conference, or did you just hear what you wanted to hear? She confirmed to the officers, honey, that she was kidnapped by a man, then over there taken to a woman and a child. Did y'all miss all of that? Did y'all miss all of that? Okay. All right. So anywho, she said that she was held in an 18-wheeler and then wrestled free, but it's not a period there. She said that she wrestled free. They caught up with her, threw her back in the car, and took her back to the 18-wheeler. This was her whole story. All right. So police out in Hoover said they are unable to corroborate her story, and it has since emerged. She searched online the movie Taken and researched whether an Amber Alert would be issued for someone her age. Ain't that something? And whether she had to pay for it. Now they're saying that her boyfriend Tamar Simmons helped lead the search and was initially overjoyed at her return. After police delivered their update, he removed all trace of her on his social media, as he did. They said on Friday her boss said she had been fired. Okay, Miss Carlee had been fired from that job. Stuart Rome told the New York Post Russell's colleagues were initially distraught but are now angry. All right. It was really devastating for them, thinking a coworker was abducted. The following day, Saturday, was the busiest day, and they had to plug along. And then once they finished doing what they needed to do, in the meantime, in between time, they passed out flyers and things. All right. They said as the information came out, there were some questionable things. We've been a little pissed off, mainly because some people took so much time out to search for her. Basically, they spent the last day deleting comments and everything. So they are pretty much saying the same thing that the New York Post is saying, and they are confirming too that he said she had been fired, and she was fired on that Friday once they found out that she was over there stealing. Now, my thing is, if he would have never knew that, if this case would have never went down with the whole she's missing, I'm just wondering whether they would have ever found out she was over there stealing. Probably would have never knew. But once she went missing and the police showed up and they had to look at those surveillance cameras and everything, retrace her steps, that's when they saw that she was over there stealing and taking things. Yikes. And he had to go ahead and fire her. I told y'all those rumors really started to get hot come like that Friday at some point. So for him to see her stealing, and then you hearing all these other rumors and stuff going on about, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is true. She faked her stuff. Then she got a history of doing stuff like that. Whoop, de whoop, de whoop. He probably was like, oh, hell no, she got to go. I'm done. Because it's weird for him to see that she was missing, could be in danger. And then he sees her on camera stealing, and then he just fires her. I don't think that's how it went, but I do think the rumors and stuff started to come to him, and he was like, oh, hell no. Like, yeah, now that I think about it, y'all right. Let me go ahead and fire this girl because this probably is a host. Let me go ahead and jump the gun on that. Yikes. So we hate to hear it, girl. We hate to hear it, but it is what it is. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on. I want you guys to leave your thoughts and comments down below about the whole firing and situation regarding Miss Carlee Russell and her still not talking to the police after a whole week. Okay. A whole week of this incident being started, from her going missing to her being, I can't even say found because she was never found, from her returning home. Hello. And she has yet to talk to the police, because the reason she needs to talk to the police is because she says, and she continues to stand by her statement of being kidnapped. All right. So if you are confirming and standing by the fact that you were kidnapped and none of your story works its way out to be exactly what you said, because you committed a crime and you faked your kidnapping. That may not have been, no, I can't even say that's not what she did initially, because y'all got to look at all the research and stuff that she did before she went missing. So this was all planned. This is what she wanted. She checked out the Amber Alert. She called the police to get them there and said she would stay at the scene, and still left the scene. This young lady committed a crime, and it may not happen right now where she has to answer for what she's done, but other situations has shown that, girl, it could be 2 years from now and you still gonna have to pay that. You're gonna have to, okay, do the time for the crime. All right. But in the meantime, in between time, there has been another celeb that has come out. I guess you could say celeb. A lot of people don't like to call these people celebs. So I don't really want to call them a celeb. But if you're familiar with the rapper Lil Durk, his baby mama came out to share her thoughts about this overall Carlee situation. So Dr. Shaniqua says, y'all do know that blaming Carlee Russell for police not caring about missing Black women is just your internalized misogynoir at work, right? Because no matter how many white people have fabricated crimes, no one says it might make the police work, less. Okay. So then India goes on to co-sign this, and she says, exactly. A quick Google search will show you just how many faked their abductions in the last 10 years. Speaking of, Chloe Stein faked her abduction 2 months ago. Then India goes on to clear up what she was saying, because so many people had things to say to her about it, and could have possibly misunderstood what she was saying. So she says the point of these tweets were not to excuse what she did. The point is that her story shouldn't stop an actual missing Black girl from being found. I agree with that. And if we applied pressure to all missing situations and, keep our foot on people's necks, like, hello, it has no choice but to get media coverage. And a lot of people are believing, and, y'all have y'all beliefs, I have mine, are believing that, oh, she got all these resources and she captured all of this attention and because she was missing. I feel like it was attached to a hoax. I feel like we probably wasn't gonna get that attention anyway, but because it was attached to a possible hoax and her story wasn't making sense to a lot of people, other news outlets began to pick it up so that they can follow the story too, to find out whether indeed this is a hoax, right? And I know she mentioned Chloe Stein, and then I know some people in the chat mentioned, I think it was Sherry Papini, and then there were some other white women. For a lot of us, we often talk about what's happening in the white community versus what's happening in ours, when the truth of the matter is a lot of us don't be that concerned with what's going on in the white community to really know what goes viral versus what doesn't go viral. You know what I'm saying? I think the last thing that truly went viral in the white community that spilled over into our community that we actually paid attention to were the murders that took place of those. I think it was those 4 roommates or something. It was I don't know if it was in Virginia. I can't remember where it was, but it was up north, and they were all those roommates or those friends or whatever. They ended up being murdered mysteriously, and that trial and that case is still ongoing. I think that was the biggest thing. But outside of that, we don't really be over there to know. And I feel like if a lot of the blogs on Instagram, which is where a ton of people get their information, because they have millions and millions and millions and millions of followers, if they were to post more content about white people, then we'll be privy to what's really happening over there. A lot of us don't follow enough white blogs or those communities to really know what's happening. So for me, I don't really feel like, I kind of agree with her. Like, yeah, Carlee did this, but I don't think it's going to take away from anything if we continue to do our part. If the police are not doing their jobs, they're not going to do it anyway. You already know when it comes to us, we have to make them do that. So what other way can we make them do that aside from talking, informing search parties, and getting out there and just being active? So I don't know. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts, and some of y'all gonna be mad. Y'all gonna feel away, have conversations in the comments. But it's just, like, I don't know. It seems like we're trying to find people to put that blame off on because some of us finally actually did our parts, in my opinion, as far as promoting this situation and letting people know, hey, she's missing. And it just makes me think if we came together like that all the time for the people that we have that are missing, or the families that are missing their kids within our community, we could possibly get that better coverage. Right? I think Kanika Jenkins got a lot of coverage, but that's because the same amount of energy we put around this was the same amount of energy that we put around the Kanika Jenkins. But anybody else that's going missing in that time, I can't think of their story going as big. But whenever it's a scandal or something attached to it, that's where things like really blow up. But let's go ahead and keep going. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. All right. She says the point is that her story shouldn't stop an actual missing Black girl from being found or create less of an effort to find other Black girls or excuse news outlets from giving Black missing girl story coverage. Okay. Somebody goes on to let her know, listen, I hear that and understand, but I think it's just the fact that Black people missing never really gets as much coverage as she did. A lot of people made a big effort to get her story heard, so it feels like a slap in the face. And I feel like it's definitely a slap in the face for her to do that, knowing that there are real women going missing. But I also feel like it's a slap in our own face because we make a lot of things go viral. We just do. Like, I feel like we the culture of everything, in my personal opinion, when it comes to Black people. So I really feel like, as much as they try to make it seem like we're minorities, obviously our voices are loud enough to push certain things on a go. So, we can make a lot of missing stories go viral if we put the same amount of energy into that, and they ain't got no choice but to respond and but to answer. Hoover made their move. I don't know how they worked with other cases. I can only speak on this one. Hoover made their move and did what they had to do because they were getting so many calls, so many emails, this and that, So it forced them to get out there. You having to reach out to the Secret Service, call the FBI. Once you make all of these calls and stuff, it's going to make its rounds to the news stations. And then it's going to be like, okay, well then what's going on? Why are they doing all of this? Oh, this is what's happening. So basically what I'm saying is we have to continue to do our part as well. Okay. We have to continue to apply pressure to situations. That's just me. That's just what I think. I understand if you guys might think differently. So leave your thoughts and stuff down below. But we got to apply that pressure. We make so many stuff and unnecessary people go viral. Hello, on a regular basis. I can imagine how many people has had a come up off of us just discussing and talking about them and their stories that really ain't about nothing, when that energy could have been used towards talking about a person who's missing and possibly could have recovered that person alive. But let's keep going. So then India says it is, and we're all disappointed, okay, in response to it being a slap in the face. She says the point is she doesn't represent a whole race, so stop acting like she does. Y'all are making excuses for them. She didn't make them care any less than they already do for us. I do recall Charlemagne mentioning this on his Donkey of the Day. She also goes on to say that's the point both, okay, that's the point both the original tweeter and I are making. All right. Now that's what she said. And once it made its way over to the blogs, there were a few comments. I'm not going to read a ton, but there were a few that I pulled out. Someone says, why Jussie Smollett didn't get this type of grace from Black people? Because y'all canceled him quick. Okay. Y'all canceled him quick. Let me tell you, Jussie Smollett was definitely canceled extremely quickly. And I was a bit surprised, although it was like a hate crime affiliated with it. I was surprised that people canceled him as quick as they did. I do feel like, in my personal opinion, if this was a male that did this situation, I don't know if y'all would have went as hard. Possibly. I would have liked to have seen that. If this was a black man that sat up here and faked his death, I wonder if y'all would have been dragging him. I've seen a lot of people would know. I think y'all would be dragging him. My question is more so, would y'all want this person in jail? I've been seeing a lot of people say, like, oh, well, I don't want Carlee to go to jail and this, that, and the other. She just needs to go to a mental health institution. No, the hell she don't. Okay, you did the time, okay, or you did the crime, you do the time. And it's really that simple. It ain't no mental. When she's done all this research, it was something she wanted to do. It ain't got no, oh, she has a disconnected issue with her mental. Not at all. So I'm just wondering, if this was a male to do this, would y'all want to see that? I feel like y'all would. I feel like people would want to see him more so locked up. And I don't think he would get that grace versus this woman. And I'm not even gonna, I'll remove the black and the white from it. And I'm just gonna say a person, this male, female. So that's just, I want to hear y'all thoughts, because I feel like if it was a male, we'll be like, lock him up, lock him up, lock him up, lock him up. And then now it'll be a unified front on lock him up. But with this woman, it's giving, oh no, we shouldn't do, no, it's a mental thing. Woo, hell no. Lock her up. It's really giving it simple. All right. So this person goes on. The next person says, y'all are attaching black women onto this case, not the media. Y'all motherfuckers are. This is a case of a woman who lied and happened to be black. Y'all are attaching black women as a whole to the situation. Y'all are defending a narrative about people are gonna find it harder to believe us. No one said that but y'all motherfuckers in the comments. Whoa. Okay. Someone else says, as someone who believed her until I couldn't anymore, she set us back. We don't get as much grace as white liars, and it will impact the way they look for missing black women moving forward. With that said, it's not going to stop the way I raise awareness, but this just made it that much harder. I disagree. I feel like y'all putting more energy onto the media and on to the police. When we make the stuff shake, they gonna end up having to discuss what we apply pressure to. So we have to, like, it's like, it's just what it is. And maybe some of you guys are feeling like, but that's the thing though, we shouldn't have to apply pressure. It should just be something that they do. And I get that. But for me, who loves true crime type stuff, there have been a lot of white folks that went missing, or Mexican people that went missing. It's been a lot of variety of people that went missing that has not gotten no coverage. Right. But with us, I can only speak for like this situation and stuff. I just feel like if we apply the same amount of pressure, girl, they ain't gonna have no choice but to talk about it. Okay. And when I say pressure, I'm talking about us talking about it, boots on grounds, girl, sharing posts, calling up to the Hoover or whoever police department, constantly blowing them up to force them to look at this situation. Like, that's just, that's how it goes when people go missing. That's how, that's just what it is that I think. But I do want to kind of go back to something that she referenced. She talked about this young lady by the name of Chloe Stein. And that's who I want to get into. I want to get into her story briefly, because I was unfamiliar with this story, this Chloe Stein, and this happened like 2 months ago. But this right here, for me, definitely indeed confirms that you do the crime, you're going to do the time in some capacity, one way or another. Okay. So this one says, Chloe Stein, a Jeanette woman accused of faking abduction. She may owe $11,500 for the search. Okay. So they go on to say that Chloe Stein is a 23-year-old Jeanette woman accused of faking her own abduction, could enter a probationary program that includes the possibility of paying nearly $11,500 in restitution after the massive search for her. Now, they said Stein waived her right to preliminary hearing after attorneys negotiated a tentative agreement. All right. The search started Let me move that out the way. Okay. The search started after state police said Stein was last seen leaving work at 10:30 p.m. on May 1st. The last anyone heard from her was around 11 p.m. when her boyfriend got a message that indicated she was being pulled over. Police said Stein's boyfriend and two friends found her car on a certain road in Greensburg, and they called the police. She was reported missing around lunchtime on May 2nd after no one could find her. Police said they searched for her 6 to 7 hours using canines and a helicopter. Now, when I read this, it makes me question whether Carlee Russell kind of used a similar tactic of this young lady and if she was familiar with this case, because the fact that this young lady said that she got pulled over and when the friends got there they found her car on the side of the road or whatever, but she wasn't in the car nowhere. So that's kind of what it's giving. Like, did you just choose the highway? Like, did you take bits and pieces from her story and then you just added some layers on it, called the police yourself, and then called somebody else just so that you could scream in their ear, they can assume that you was missing, and then you run off? Because that's what it was given. That's what it's girl, did you watch this, Miss Carlee? Well, let's keep going. They said troopers said she later showed up at a neighbor's house on May 2nd. So let me go back up, girl. When did she go missing? May 1st. Okay, so it looks like she only went missing for a day. Because I was like, what? She was reported. Okay, yeah. So she left on May 1st. She was reported missing within 24 hours. Okay, on May 2nd. They said police said they searched for her 6 to 7 hours, which makes sense as to why she's only being likely forced why the $11,500. I feel like that makes more sense for them to say, hey, we want you to pay $11,500. That's not a lot of money. Whereas with Sherry Papini, she did her situation in 2016, and it took them a very long time. I think it took them a few years to figure out that she faked her own kidnapping, which is why she had to pay $300 and some thousand because of all of the money that went into it. All right. Now, let's keep going. They said troopers said she later showed up at a neighbor's house on May 2nd and said she was released after being bound and held at gunpoint. She later admitted to making the story up, and police said it appeared she had been in a garage behind her house for most of the time. BITCH, not you was in the back of your house just chilling, ho. Not you was in the back of your house just chilling. No, ma'am. They said, as for a possible motive for allegedly faking her own abduction, police said Stein's inner circle was looking forward to her graduating from Penn State. But a university official told police she hadn't been in school for more than a year and a half. Girl, not you being a pro at lying. Girl, what? If the tentative agreement is approved by Judge, Stein would enter a program for first-time nonviolent offenders and may apply to have her record expunged if she successfully completes the probation term. Stein has been charged with false alarm to agency of public safety, false reports, obstruction of administration of law, and other governmental functions and disorderly conduct. Okay, so that's what her charges are, but it looks like she's gonna get off a little easier because probably she only went missing for a day. She didn't use up a ton of resources. And also, she didn't really call the police and stuff. Her other people did. She just played on her friends and let them call the police. So yeah. So something's definitely coming down a pipeline, in my personal opinion, when it comes to Carlee, as I look at this Chloe Stein situation. It's just a matter of what. And the fact that I see that Chloe Stein is getting off on probation and getting a easy fine, because I feel like her 11,000 fine, what is that? What is that, girl? You're probably gonna pay that off probably within a year or two, depending on, I don't know what kind of job you got or whatever. But I don't think it's gonna take you was over there at Penn State. I'm sure you're gonna get you a cute little coin to be able to pay that 11,500 off. So I feel like she getting off hella easy. We'll see how this young lady gonna get off. We'll see how she's going to get off. And granted, this story with Chloe probably was very viral. It probably was very viral in their community, but I didn't know anything about it. So there's that. So I think it would be also good if some of, if we got some other people's, whatever they got going on, slide on over there to a lot of the blogs that we typically tend to tune into. But that's just, That's just my opinion, okay? So those of you guys that was wondering, honey, this is Miss Chloe, and she was definitely arrested, and she was definitely taken into jail. And that is something that Miss Carlee Russell is avoiding. And I'm like, girl, don't avoid it. Don't avoid it, okay? What you gonna do when they come for you? Because I do believe that they are coming. Okay, they may not get you now, they may not get you tomorrow, but I do believe that they is gonna get you. And you can ask Sherry Papini about that. And there's been other cases as well. All right, but there's that. I also wanted to get into a little more. I do have some other news stories that I want to play before we get out of here. So let's go ahead and just check out what they have to say about a lot of this. Okay.
And joining us now is Dr. Carol Lieberman. She is a forensic psychiatrist and expert witness. So, doctor, on Carlee's cell phone, some notable searches were found that included, are you charged for an Amber Alert? Searches of the Liam Neeson film Taken, which is about kidnapping, as you know, and how to steal cash from a register and not get caught. So, doctor, what does that tell you?
Well, first of all, it tells you that she has other signs of being dishonest, how to steal from a register. The movie Taken, that is a big clue, because basically she was staging her abduction. I didn't believe her. I thought there was something fishy with this case from the very beginning. Because that's basically what I'm trained to do as a forensic psychiatrist, is to, determine whether people are malignant, whether they're lying, or whether they're, whether they're telling the truth, criminals, and or even in civil cases. So, she also seems to have copied Sherry Papini. When she did that, she's the California woman who staged a hoax. She disappeared for a while, and it turned out that she was with an old boyfriend, and then she surprisingly, showed up. She was charged with things, and did, I don't remember whether she spent time in jail, but she was definitely convicted. So, there are so many. First of all, it's interesting that she left her purse and her wig and an expensive watch and so on in her car at the side of the road. But she took the black bathrobe and toilet paper that she stole from her job at the spa, and she took snacks. So those are kind of clues as, did she hide out in the woods? Was she thinking she would need these kinds of things? She also bought a bus ticket to Nashville. Now, was there a boyfriend in Nashville or somebody she was hoping to meet up with? These are the kinds of things that the police need to follow up on. There are several other. Now, for example, in the press conference, the chief of police was saying that there were other things on her cell phone, but he's not disclosing that because of, sort of respect for her, to keep her privacy. So there are lots of different avenues. I just mentioned a few of them, but there are lots of different avenues to go down, and the police going to go down those avenues to try, because they want to determine what actually she was doing during those 2 days.
Absolutely. Those are the big questions. So as we know, Carlee's boyfriend and parents are standing firmly behind her. They've also been through a lot, of course, during this time. What do police need to look for when handling a case like this?
Well, it's interesting, her boyfriend and parents, because yes, they're saying certainly that they believe her now. The parents said this on national television. But if it turns out, as the police chief essentially said, that this was a hoax, they're going to be angry at her. Of course, if she gets charged, then they'll be sympathetic and try to help her, undoubtedly. But, this is a very, I think part of it was that she was wanting to manipulate them in some way. It's not clear why, but like, for example, that day that she disappeared, not only did she steal from her work, but also
there were things happening where she was misrepresenting, but she also, like you said, doing things where she wasn't telling the truth, and that was obvious. Is that correct, doctor?
Right. Yes. And so she was afraid perhaps that she was going to get into trouble, like flunking out of nursing school and so on. There were various things, but it's still really there. It's not very clear. And,
right.
And certainly we need to get to the bottom of it for one of the reasons that you were mentioning. How are the police going to react to other women who come up with these kinds of stories?
Absolutely. Dr. Lieberman, thank you so much for joining us and for that breakdown.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. Go to News.
I like what this lady said at the very end. I really like what she had to say at the very end. She said, how are the police going to respond to others who basically do stuff like this, right? That's what I'm thinking about. Not so much as how are they going to respond to other missing people. Okay. Nah. That's what I want to know. How y'all gonna respond to other people that may try and make this shit up and just say that, oh, it's a hoax or whatever the case is. That's more so where my head is at. All right, but y'all let me know your thoughts. But I have one more news story because I do believe that they got a chance to talk to some more of the neighbors, and let's just see what they had to say.
Well, police in Alabama say they are having trouble verifying the story of a nursing student who says she was abducted. Carlee Russell says she saw a toddler walking across the highway when she stopped to help and called 911. Then claimed she was abducted by a man in the woods. News Nation's Brooke Schaefer has been following this investigation closely. So, Brooke, a lot of twists and turns here. What are police saying at this hour?
Well, Kelly, police in Hoover, Alabama are still investigating what happened in those 49 hours that Carlee Russell was missing. But at the same time, there is a growing frustration for some people in that Alabama community. People who spent 2 days searching for the 25-year-old nursing student. She vanished last week, as you mentioned, reportedly after seeing a child on the side of the highway. Her disappearance prompted a multi-state search with law enforcement, family, friends, even strangers. It gained national attention, but now police are casting doubt on Russell's claims she was kidnapped. And detectives said they have actually no evidence that child she called 911 about even exists.
At first I was hopeful, but later on I became very disappointed because everybody came together for a good cause in the community to work together to find Carlee. And now that the facts have come out and Facebook speculation, it seems that this is not truthful at all. And so it's just great disappointment.
It's a lot of questions going on in my head, thinking why or how, or, it's a crazy world out there. So it's like to have people praying about certain situations and find out that it's not what they were praying for.
So people who live near Hoover, Alabama, where this all happened, of course, grateful that Carlee Russell is back home safe with her family. But they fear now what this case will do to other missing persons cases in the future. And we should mention, we did try reaching out to Carlee's parents, both by phone and over text message. We haven't heard back. Kelly?
Understood. Certainly happy that she's home. So, Brooke, could Carlee Russell face any charges for this?
Yeah, that's a big question right now. In a press conference with police in Hoover, Alabama, the police chief said that they hadn't really gotten to that point yet to be able to think about any possible charges. But we did speak with an attorney about this case, and he told us that Carlee Russell could face a slew of charges for falsifying her story. There could also be some civil penalties for the amount of money and resources spent trying to find her. At this point, though, police also saying that they have tried speaking once again with Carlee Russell. Her parents, though, declining that request, saying that she is still too traumatized and not ready to talk.
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation.
Now she's still too traumatized and not ready to talk. First of all, Hoover not gonna let us know all of their cards. Hello, they kept things very nipped up tight as they could before they came out with that press conference. So no, they're not gonna let us know all of their cards. They are definitely actively pulling up what charges they could charge her with. All right. They're trying to give her enough time to want to come to them and approach them for a conversation. And the fact that she continues to run from having a conversation, I'm sure is frustrating them and pissing them off more day by day. And I promise you, at this very moment that you're listening to this video, they are over there continuing to dig in records and look at stuff. You know what I'm saying? So also, my main thing that nobody has really mentioned, who helped Carlee? I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about that. Who helped her? That's what I want to know. Because if she go down, they need to go down too. If they contributed to helping her, picking her up on the other side of the woods or whatever the case was, if she had anybody there based on them text messages or whatever, helping her out, yeah, y'all need to go ahead and get them too. And then the other question that I had was, did she have a burner phone on her already, that's not trackable, which is why she felt so comfortable to leave her main phone in her car, but was able to communicate with somebody else via a whole nother phone, is what I'm wondering. But I've said a lot in this video. We went over a lot in this video. We talked about it being Carlee's birthday, her being fired from her job, and how, everybody at the job were feeling. We got a chance to hear some comments from, a lot of the people that's been watching this case, as well as, India. We also talked about Miss Chloe Stein, who also went missing for about 24 hours or so. About 2 months ago, and they're moving very quickly with her, though. She's not having to wait a long time. They're moving very quickly. And obviously she was able to get her a really good attorney to be able to negotiate some type of probationary program for her, and her only possibly paying back $11,500. All right. Now it could be higher. It could be whatever the judge decides, but that's just what's being reported. Her case is continuing to be ongoing, and she does have another hearing that is coming up, okay, when it comes to her case. But we've talked about a lot. You've heard from some of the neighbors, and you heard from a forensic psychiatrist. So let me know your thoughts about everything that we talked about today in this video. I am Jamie, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jamie, that's me. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.